I was so looking forward to the newsletter video this week because we're tackling a really practical topic, and it's all about how to answer the questions on the top 5 questions worksheet. Now, if you haven't yet downloaded the top 5 questions to create your best future or haven't had time to read it or start using it, no stress. Today will really help you tackle that. And if you've started already, I'm hoping I'm going to offer you 2 key insights on how to approach the first question, which is how will I behave today to create the future I want to enjoy? Now, as always, I love my real life stories and examples. So I have got one example about how you can break down a big future that you want to create into small pieces. And the other one is about taking a small amount of action that has a huge impact. So the first story or example about how to break down a really big aim into a question you can ask yourself every day is actually from sport. And in the Sydney 2000 Olympics, the British rowing team were competing in the men's eights, which is a very special event. And it was a little daunting for the Great Britain team because they hadn't won the gold medal in this event since 1912. So you can imagine the pressure going into training and being a member of the crew, knowing that so many teams and fine athletes and men who had wanted to win a gold medal really a great deal had not succeeded before them. So the coach decided to take a new tack and used a feeling forwards kind of approach when he said to the members of the crew while they were preparing for the Sydney Olympics, the one question I want you to ask yourself over and over before you do anything, take any action during the day is, will this action help me win the gold medal? So he said, I want you to ask that question when you're reaching for a donut, or I want you to ask that question when you're reaching to hit the snooze button, or I want you to ask that question after maybe a really hard workout to see whether or not you've got any energy left to contribute. So it was a really clever way by asking this future-focused question of breaking down a very big daunting goal into small chunks. And of course, I love examples and real life stories with happy endings, and the British team did break that drought of nearly 100 years and won the gold medal in Sydney 2000. So that's a way to use this question of how can I behave today to create my best future. That's a way of breaking a very big aim down into small pieces. But what about the other way around? Now, I was thinking of a coaching client I had a couple of years ago. Her name, I'll call her Christy, wasn't her name, but Christy was amazing because she was a very talented woman. She was an opera singer as an amateur. It was one of her hobbies, but she also had a very clever technical mind, and she'd got her MBA in a particular area of information technology. But apart from all that, she was sadly struggled with a very severe condition, a very severe migraines. And as she explained it to me, Ellie, I've had a massive headache for 15 years. So her passion, which she wanted to develop and leave her day job to do with technology behind, her passion was to develop a program that people who suffered from excruciating migraines like herself could somehow find a way through to still perform at a high level and live their passion like she wanted to in helping them. So we explored the whole concept of feeling forwards and creating your future. And one of the concepts of that is noticing what you do with your day, which this first question relates to. And I touch a little bit on that in the introduction to the worksheet. So we went through Christy's day, and she spent a lot of time watching reality TV. Now, when I say a lot of time, that was her downtime. That was her off button. So she probably, but when we added it up and included weekends, she probably put away between 2 and 4 hours a day. And that surprised her, and not necessarily in a good way. However, she was often very unwell. And she said, well, I just need to sit still and do nothing. And this is my relaxation. And I know that I could use some of those hours to pursue my passion and create this enormous contribution, but I just don't think I can think of anything different to do. So we worked on other aspects of the 5 questions and creating her future. But then during one of our regular sessions, she said to me, you know, I thought about it and it started to really annoy me that every time I turned on one of the reality TV shows I used to love as an escape, all of a sudden I realized I was watching someone else pursue their passion, and I was using my time watching them achieve something they wanted to achieve or be in a situation they wanted to be in, and it was taking away from me, and it stopped being so enjoyable. I said, okay, well, it's really interesting that you noticed that. So did you find a solution, or are you doing something different? And she said, well, yes, because I realized that when I went to the local art gallery and sat and looked at beautiful paintings and just sat still, I would get all these incredible ideas for the business I want to have, which is consulting people with horrendous migraines. I would get all these ideas for my business, and I would feel really relaxed because all I was doing was sitting still and gazing at this art. But it also gave me this burst of energy, and I've started going a couple of times a week, and I take a notebook with me and I write down all these ideas I have about my business or blogs or whatever I can do to contribute to fellow migraine sufferers. So this was a really interesting way how Christy changed what she was doing. She changed some of her behaviors to create the future she wanted to enjoy. But this small action of spending time looking at beautiful artwork instead of watching a reality TV show not only provided the same level of relaxation, arguably more, but then was something that helped create the future she wanted to enjoy. So I hope this has given you some enlightenment on one of the questions in the top 5 questions worksheet. Please, if you have any questions or comments, reach out to me. I'd love to get an email. You can DM me on ElizabethGould_. And also, just to let you know, a sneaky highlight, I have just created a course called the Fabulous Future Formula, which is like the top 5 questions times 100x, 10x in terms of the step-by-step guide on how to create your future. And I talk about these concepts more, a little more in that course, in a lot more detail. Anyway, I hope you have an amazing week. I can't wait to see you next week. Any questions or comments, please reach out. And anything also you would like me to cover off in this video newsletter, this material goes straight to you first as a subscriber. Any topic you would like me to cover or any particular questions, I might do a Q&A newsletter in a couple of weeks, but please send them through. I would love to hear from you. Have an awesome week.